Hey everyone, Gareth Andrew Hilton here, and I have a really interesting little tasting lined up for you for March the 26th at 6. Really interesting little tasting lined up for you for March the 26th at 6 o'clock. We are going to dive into sake. Now, this is one I've wanted to do for a little while, but I was waiting for exactly the right opportunity to present itself, and it just did. All of these sakes are made by the same brewery, Yasuhiro, and they're actually represented by the same importer, the Saki Gami company, and my friend Yasuhiro Washiyama, who will be joining us. So we're going to discuss four major styles of sake. We have a Honjozo, we have a Ginjo and a Daiginjo. Both of these are also Junmai. And we have a cloudy sake, a Nigor, in this absolutely spectacular Aladdin bottle. So, being as it's sake, it's a little bit less expensive than usual. The tasting this week is going to run you $65. Special guest, one of the best palates for sake in Canada, if not the very best, plus me, hanging out, drinking sake. It's going to be a fun Friday night. All that and more on Friday, March the 26th at 6 o'clock.
Media Boutique.
Hello everyone, welcome to our Friday night tasting series. A little bit different one tonight. We are going to be tasting some sakes, and I'm joined by absolutely my favorite person to talk to us about sake, Yasuhiro Washiyama from Saki Gami. How are you, Washi?
Good. How about you guys?
We're doing so well.
Good.
Now we have four in front of us tonight. What is the first sake we are going to be tasting? We'll get that in our glasses and we'll talk a little bit about what sake is.
Yes. Okay. First one. This sake.
This is the Kaiun Junmai Daiginjo.
Kaiun Junmai Daiginjo.
Yeah.
This sake. Brewery name is Doi Sake Brewery. Alan, are you able to put the page number 8?
Oh yeah, sure.
Absolutely,
yeah, I can pull that up. There's just hang on 1 second.
Yeah, we got this.
Okay. Today we provide 4 sake from 2 different breweries. First one, this one is Kaiun Junmai Ginjo from Doi Sake Brewery in Shizuoka region. This sake has lots of fruity notes, like a highly aromatic bouquet on the nose with note of honeydew melon.
Oh, I definitely get the melon, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I talk with so many people, well, if people haven't tried premium sake, many people will be surprised how sake has a beautiful aroma like this Kaiun. For me, I found honeydew melon or a little bit apple, and texture is very clean, crisp, and elegant, and highly aromatic nose. Well, this sake has a beautiful, like a sweet nose. So some people think, this one is sweet type sake. However, it has a very dry finish. So technically, this one is a dry type sake.
So let's talk a little bit about types of sake. So this is a Junmai Ginjo. The Junmai
Yes.
meaning that it is pure rice, so it has no distilled alcohol to it. And then Ginjo referring to the rice milling. Do you want to talk a little bit? We'll talk more about rice milling when we get to the Daiginjo. But do you want to tell people a little bit of a kind of a sake 101 for what they're looking at the label here?
Yes. Well, are you able to put the page number 3?
Yep.
Here's 3.
Here comes 3.
Coming at you.
3 is up. Soon? Okay. I may have spoke too soon. I always forget I'm on tape delay.
There it is.
There we go.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Well, very first step to brew the sake. Well, at first, we polish the rice. Well, on the left, you can see the number 100% to 70%, 60%, 50%. 100% it's a whole grain rice. Okay. Well, some sake polished down to 70% means 50% remaining and 50% removable. That's one we call it Daiginjo or Junmai Daiginjo. Oh, can you see the classification chart? Well, you can see the yellow line and the green line. Well, yellow line, which is a Junmai style sake. Sake has 4 main ingredients. First one, rice. Second one, Koji malt, which is a special malt. And another one is yeast and water. These 4 are main ingredients about sake. The sake made with these 4 ingredients we can call Junmai style sake. And non-Junmai style sake in green line on the chart. What is non-Junmai style? Is Junmai sake, based in Junmai sake with small amount of distilled alcohol are added. Okay. Then in chart, you can see the number 50%, 60%, 70%. Daiginjo or Junmai style Daiginjo, so we call Junmai Daiginjo. Junmai Daiginjo sake used to have 50% remaining and 50% removable. Junmai Ginjo or Ginjo, these sake category, that sake used to have 50%, 60% remaining and 40% removable. This sake is we call Ginjo or Junmai Ginjo. Or another category, Honjozo or Junmai. That one is used to have 70% remaining and 30% removable. Well, why we polish the rice? Usually, we polish more. These sake will be aromatics and more high complexity and clean, beautiful, elegant. That's why it's more than 50%.
Right. So with the Junmai, you're trying to push for more of these pretty delicate aromas like the honeydew melon, like the apple. You're not trying to get those cereally, lacto-y characteristics you'd get with more of a Honjozo. And then the rice milling, you can do those Junmai, but you can also do them if you add alcohol. You can make a Daiginjo. You usually never see them, but you could make a Daiginjo and also add alcohol. It's rare, but it is possible. It's 2 separate quality systems.
Mm-hmm. Well, add distilled alcohol. Well, some people say, it's like a cheating style sake, but not. We just add only small amount to catch up extra aroma or a little bit lighter and crisp texture.
Okay. And that's why you'll sometimes see that style labeled as dry sake.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fair enough. Shall we move on to the second, or do you want to work through this one a little more?
About Kaiun Junmai Daiginjo.
Yeah.
Well, I found a lot of fruity notes, and it's a clean, crisp, and very dry finish. So this sake, usually this type of sake, is good pairing with sushi or sashimi or light flavor dishes like a seared scallop or grilled
Yeah.
shrimp.
I actually like this style of sake even with things like fresh steamed clams with just butter, like very simple, fresh, bright dishes that don't have necessarily a lot of fat to them.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about the brewery for this one as well?
Yes, this brewery, Doi Sake Brewery. Well, they were founded in 1872, almost 150 years ago. Well, sake, sake's aroma is based on yeast. This brewery is home of Shizuoka yeast, which is like a special local yeast. Shizuoka Prefecture are called of Kingdom of Ginjo, because of Shizuoka Prefecture has a nice Shizuoka yeast for Ginjo style sake. So Shizuoka yeast was found at Doi Brewery, and they are one of the most respectable brewery in Japanese sake market. Well, International Wine Challenges, which is the largest wine competition, IWC has a sake category as well. International Wine Challenges 2017. This Doi Sake Brewery received the trophy, Ginjo Sake Trophy, and also largest sake competition, which called Sake Competition. In 2017, they are first place of Junmai Daiginjo category. So honestly, Kaiun is one of the best sake.
I love this. This is wonderful. Now you mentioned that they have their own yeast. How much of the breweries is uniquely just their own yeast, and how much do they have their own strains of Koji, and how much of that is tied to where in Japan it's made?
Well, about sake, about sake yeast. Well, we have tons of yeast, but most of sake brewery buy the yeast from Sake Institute, like a Japanese government. But only also, some small brewery, they try to use like a special yeast. For example, some brewery make a yeast from strawberry. It's a strawberry yeast. That's like a sake with strawberry yeast. That sake has a strawberry aroma on the
Really?
nose. Yes.
That's fascinating. So they're harvesting yeast like off the outside of strawberries, and then culturing that up and using that as their fermentation yeast.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's a kind of new trend in sake brewery. Also, some yeast is from flower, like a wild flower.
Really? Is
Yes.
all sake yeast kind of initially kind of naturally sourced and then cultured in the brewery, or is there, maybe some of the larger breweries, let's just say Gekikan, they just go down to, the sake supply store and buy 500 pounds of like commercially prepared sake yeast, or is it very much a big brewery versus small brewery difference?
Well, most of the time, like a big breweries or big brewery, they bought the specific sake yeast from Sake Institute by Japanese government. But new trend is just try to make own yeast.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's a house yeast, almost like kind of like old Belgian breweries or like some wineries do as well.
Yes.
And is there a lot of variation on Koji as well, or is just Koji pretty standard, or is Koji change year to year and season to season, or different parts of the country?
No, Koji is Koji mold is it's like a special fungus. So special fungus. Brewery bought the Koji mold from Koji mold factory. Only for Koji mold factory in Japan. Okay, well, the in brewing processes. Brewery make steamed rice. Then put the Koji mold. It's a fungus. Then make a Koji rice. So Koji is Koji rice is in sake brewery. It's at the they make at the brewery on that time. But about Koji, most of Japanese fermentation food like a miso, soy sauce, all of fermentation food use a Koji.
Okay.
But a different type of.
Now we're going to move on to the second sake here. We'll move on to the Tokubatsuhanjozo, and I want to talk a little bit about Koji's role in the sake brewing process. I'll kind of say what I understand about the process, and then you can correct me. So for me, Koji is, so when you're brewing sake, you start out with the dry rice. You mill it down to whatever grade you need it to be, whether it's the outer 70, 60, 50, whatever you happen to be doing. And then you steam it to make it kind of warm and ready to be inoculated with Koji. You inoculate some of the rice with Koji, but not all. You create a yeast starter with kind of the base rice. You add the Koji in, and basically that helps convert the very complex starches in the rice into simple sugar, so it'll actually ferment. The Koji is acting basically as a conversion agent, very much like alpha and beta amylase in beer brewing, to convert those complex starches into simple sugars. But it's also such a huge flavoring component, and it's also interesting because you can vary how much Koji rice you put in the sakes. I think you actually bring in a sake that they use 100% Koji rice, which is not very usual.
No. Well, in sake fermentation tank, one Koji rice by 3 regular steamed rice.
Okay.
Yeah. So at first, just make a like a yeast starter by Koji rice, Koji fermented rice. Okay. Then put that yeast starter in large tank. Then add the extra batch of Koji rice and the regular steamed rice. Mix it, add and the water. Then another batch of Koji rice and the steamed rice and extra water. Then one more time, extra Koji rice and the steamed rice. Put it in.
And how long does it actually ferment for, usually?
Well, it depends on the product. Usually, Ginjo or Daiginjo, almost 45 days to 2 months.
Wow, that's insane. Wine takes a week, 10 days at most, and beer's done in like 3 days. is it just is it how long it takes the koji to convert all of those starches into sugars that means it takes so long?
To make a koji rice, just 3 days. Just 3 days.
Okay. So we're on to the second sake. This is the Tokubatsuhanjozo. So this does have the distilled alcohol in it.
Yes.
But of course, Tokubetsu means special. What's special about this sake?
Well, this category is Tokubetsuhanjozo. Well, Tokubetsuhanjozo is same as a Ginjo, regular Ginjo.
Okay.
Okay. Well, regular Honjozo is, has to be, polished down to 70%. However, Tokubetsu Honjozo is 60%. It's the same category.
Okay.
Ginjo.
And I would guess in this case, I know that when they're making a sake, if they label it as a ginjo, they're going more for this style. They're going for that very bright, very aromatic character.
Yes,
it's
it
a
is.
stylistic choice. So even though this does meet the same quality characteristics as a ginjo, they're going for a very different style.
Well, okay, between these two use almost same sake rice, and same sake rice. However, this one has a Junmai Ginjo. This Junmai Ginjo is a 50% rice polishing rate.
Okay.
Tokubetsu Honjozo is 60%, so 10% difference. However, about taste, this Tokubetsu Honjozo has a different aroma.
Very different.
Very different. Only 10% difference. However, character is totally different. On aroma, I found like banana.
Someone in the comments is saying bubble gum.
Oh yes.
And I have a question actually a little earlier up. Shane asks, is there a specific or special religious significance to certain types of sake at all, or is it just sake is sake and it's not particularly religiously significant at all, or is there particular types that are done for religious holidays or festivals?
Well, my suggestions, like a Ginjo or Daiginjo or Honjozo, like this type of aromatic sake, I strongly recommend to use wine glass.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because of everybody think when we people enjoy the sake, at a restaurant or home, many people use these small ceramic cup.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, this is our traditional sake cup, so this is one of the good choice. However, if we use this one, we cannot enjoy the aroma. Well, this one is good. However, this one is difficult to enjoy the aroma. So that's why I recommend to use a wine glass. And for this small cup, when we enjoy the hot sake, this one is good choice. But when you enjoy the chill sake, wine glass is best choice, I think.
Wonderful. Now, when you're talking about warm sake, I know it's not a popular subject all the time. I normally think hot sake, I think like futsushu. I don't think of like premium sake as being served warm. Is there ever any time you'd have like a warm Daiginjo?
Well, okay. Aaron, can you put the page number 6?
Sure, he can do that.
I can do that. Page number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep.
Okay. Well, sometimes people said, hot sake is, cheap sake, and premium sake is cold or chilled sake.
That's always been my understanding. So please call me out. You should.
Okay. Well, most of time, or most of people when you enjoy the sake, I believe at restaurant. Well, long time. Well, we didn't have premium sake for a while in North Americas. We got only basic grade sake before. So, these for a long time we just get a basic grade sake, and restaurant serves only hot sake. So people think cheap lower grade sake should be drink as hot, but not. Well, this one, Kaiun Tokubetsu Honjozo. Well, this sake works with hot too. So sometimes some premium sake works with hot, works with chill. Works with hot too. So not 100%. Kaiun Junmai Daiginjo. Well, this sake doesn't work with chilled. Doesn't work hot. Doesn't work hot. Well, some sake has a lot of fruity nose. This sake is good for chilled for sure. But some Honjozo, it's still premium sake. This one works with hot too. So
And I think that's an important point that you brought up earlier that I think does need to be reiterated. Honjozo, just because they add alcohol, they're not stretching the sake. They're not trying to make a lower quality product. It's pulling different flavors out of the rice, and it's creating a different sake experience that's maybe not as aromatic, but maybe bigger in the mouth.
It is.
Would you generally say that Honjozos, as a rule, are better hot than Junmais, or is that going too far?
Well, Honjozo, for me, Honjozo works with, extremely chilled or hot, or also works with room temperature.
Well, that's how I'm having it, because with all our tech issues, I will tell a little bit of thing. We almost delayed the tasting till 6:15 tonight because Aaron's computer decided to do an automatic update, and it took about 45 minutes to do it. So that was fun.
Rhymes with skin of our teeth.
Yeah, it was very much skin of our teeth. But as a result of all that, we forgot to put the sake in the fridge. So I'm having all of these at room temperature. Still enjoying them, but yeah, I'm not having these chilled, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And when you enjoy the hot sake, my recommendation is heat it up by microwave or hot water. Okay, and best warming temperature is around 50 Celsius. Well, sometimes people heat it up almost 65 or 70 degrees. That's too hot. So around 50 is the best temperature for enjoying the hot sake.
And is that because some of the more delicate aromatic compounds will actually just cook off and evaporate if the sake gets too hot? Like, God forbid you actually boil it?
Mm-hmm.
Never boil your sake. That's a terrible idea. So I will ask then, there are machines out there, of course, they keep your sake at a perfect 50 degrees Celsius. Are you a fan of sake machines on the whole, or would you rather your bottle be heated?
Just put the hot water bath.
Yeah.
Make the hot water on stove top. Then put the sake in like a coffee cup or a sake carafe. Then put it on the water. Then if you have a thermometer, just put it on to check the temperature.
I think we got Washiyama. We're fine.
Okay.
Outstanding. Should we move on to the Daiginjo then and see how that's showing for us?
Yes. Well, this one is Aizu Homare Junmai Daiginjo. Junmai Daiginjo is top category, best category of sake. Usually Junmai Daiginjo has a lots of fruity aromas. I found pineapple or some tropical fruit.
Oh yeah, and it's so different from the standard Ginjo, even though it's only 10% more rice milling in theory, and yet it's so wildly different. You're absolutely spot on with that pineapple. It's so tropical, and I'd even say it gets into things like maybe kiwi or even into passion fruit or mango. There's so much going on here. This absolutely, these were lovely. This just explodes out of the glass at you. There's just so much aroma.
And on taste, I have a creamy palate.
Oh, I can get right on board with that. Yeah, creamy. Again, the pineapple follows right through. I almost get something cherries, maybe like red cherries.
Yes, or licorice.
Or licorice, I could see that, red licorice. And people are loving this one. Kevin's already on this, loves it. So now, again, just reading the label here. I say reading the label. I'm not going to try and read the front label. There's no English on the front label. But it is Junmai, so it's pure rice, so no distilled alcohol added. And it is Daiginjo, so the highest grade of rice milling. Do you want to talk about how they mill the rice? Like it's not, you know, it's not just spinning plates or anything. Tell us about rice milling and how it's done.
Well, they has like a special, special rice polishing machine, which is like a tower. Put the sake rice on the top. Then, when rice drop from top to down, it has a mill on the middle. Then, polish it. Well, usually, each batch of sake tank, they use almost 1,000 kilogram of sake rice. Usually, almost 72 hours only for polishing. So that mill moves so slowly.
Now, Daiginjo is by law at least 50% removed, but they can remove more than that. I've seen Daiginjos down to like 22 and 23.
Yes, and most highest one is 1% rice polishing rate.
Really?
Yes.
Can you taste the difference between a 1% like a 22?
Well, honestly, 1% or 22%, almost same days, I think. However, polishing processes needs a high technique. So that's why, brewery want to make a more higher polishing rate to show how they have a special technique.
So what are you polishing for? What are you removing? Why are Daiginjos so much prettier than, say, something that's just 70%? What does it do? What are you taking off of the rice kernel?
Okay. Can you show the page number 2?
Page number 2? Absolutely, we can. Yep, we're live. Go ahead.
Okay. On the top, you can see the sake rice, picture of rice. Well, can you see the white spot in the middle?
I can't because I'm on a tape delay. I see everything 10 seconds after everyone else does.
Okay.
There we go. Now I've got it.
Okay. I think, you can see the white spot in the middle.
Yes.
Okay. That one is starch. And in clear part, it contains protein, fat, vitamin, or minerals. Okay. Well, on the bottom, you can see the sake rice or table rice. Table rice is just clear. Okay.
So it's mostly everything else. It's not that much starch.
So usually we polish down more than 40%, like Junmai Daiginjo. Well, that one is only starch. But 70% one, like a Honjozo grade, starch with protein or fat are containing it. So that's why that protein or fat, mineral, vitamin makes a different flavor.
So you won't get this pure, beautiful pineapple character if you've got all those other vitamins and minerals and oils and fats hanging around. You need the pure starch and the core of the rice kernel to actually bring out this beautiful aroma.
Yes.
Now, is fermentation temperature different depending on what you're making when they're fermenting something that they know is going to end up being a Honjozo shu or something they know is going to be Daiginjo? Do they treat it differently during the fermentation process, or is it all very much the same?
Well, usually Daiginjo or Ginjo or Daiginjo sake keeps a little bit lower temperature, around 14 Celsius or 15 Celsius during the fermentation. Honjozo is a little bit higher, around 16 or 17 Celsius. So lower temperature needs extra time to complete the fermentation. And lower temperature needs also extra time to fermentation. So catch up extra aroma as well.
Beautiful. I'm going to take just 5 minutes here, Washi, and just talk about what we've got coming up next week for our tasting. So hold tight. We'll get to the Nigori sake in just a minute. Okay. But I'm just going to talk about a couple things. Have a glass. Just relax. Have a glass. It'll be fine. We'll be back with you very, very shortly. So for everybody else, we do have 2 events next week as well. On Wednesday night, we are doing beer tasting, and apparently my brown ale exploded.
Nice.
That's fun. So yes, I will have a non-exploded brown ale for you. We are going to have to check those cans, mind. But our topic next week is brown ales. So we are doing the Old Man River St. Joe's Abbey style brown. We are doing the first of our pink boots beers. We're going to be doing a few of these through the course of the season. This is the Full Circle Roggen beer or rye ale from Blind Man. From Cabin, we have their Epilogue, which is their Schwarz beer. And then this very sticky customer that's ruined my tissue paper. This is the Sportelheim brown ale. This is the second in Zero Issues Realms series. So yes, that is next week's tasting, $20 as always. We are going to inspect all of these cans to make sure what happened to me doesn't happen to you. So that is coming up on Wednesday next week. Friday next week, we are once again back to wine tasting. And we have a little bit of Austrian for you next week. I'll be joined by Andrew Stewart of Vino al Vino as my guest. And we will be talking about the wines of Johannes Zillinger. Fun little story on these. When he actually brought these in, I actually had to leave early that day, and Dev and I had this conversation about, oh well, I really hope the wines aren't like spectacular. We really don't have room for anything new in Austria. Like, okay, we like Andrew, he's a nice guy. Let's just buy one, make him feel better. Devin texted me like the minute he tasted these, like, yeah, we're taking everything and need to do a tasting on them. These are absolutely amazing. Best Austrian stuff we've had since we brought in Mein Klang. So we've got a white, which is a Grüner Veltliner, which is a national grape of Austria. And then we are doing their Solera Red and Solera Pink, which are multi-year blends aged in amphorae. Absolutely stunning wines. A little higher end, that's why there's only 3, and it's 85. But it's so worth it. This is going to be an outstanding tasting. Washi, thank you for bearing with me. Let's move on, and let's try this very interesting looking Aladdin bottle.
Okay.
Should we shake it up?
Yes, please. You can see the 2-layer, clear part, and you can see the
I could.
ice on the bottom. So before drink it, please shake it. Then please mix well.
So Nigori sake is always cloudy like this, but this has more rice solids than I'm usually used to. And I know there's a big range of how much rice solids can be added back. Tell us a little about Nigori and this one in particular.
Yes, Nigori sake is one of the popular category of sake, represents the famous cloudy or milky sake that has rice particles left in the brew and are not totally filtered out. Well, some people call it unfiltered sake. Well, usually Nigori sake is like this, very thickness. Well, this Homare Nigori.
Oh wow! Oh, it's so mushroomy. It's got so many earthy, straw mushroom notes.
Earthy, rich taste, and some banana. I found it.
Banana and something like freshly baked bread. Now this is not Junmai, so this is not pure ice?
It's a Honjozo.
Okay, and so that would be part of why we're getting...
So distilled are added.
So, not Junmai, not Ginjo, but it doesn't need to be, and it shouldn't be. It's got so much more to offer that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will just point out that you absolutely could make a Junmai Ginjo Nigori, just like you could make a Junmai that was not Ginjo, or you could make a Ginjo or not Daiginjo, or a Daiginjo that weren't Junmai. All of these terms are, to a certain point, interchangeable. Just because you're doing one thing doesn't mean you're not doing something else. So that's what I really like about sake up to a point. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, most of the time, Nigori sake is not higher price in Japan, in Japanese sake market. So, most of the time, Nigori sake, when brewery produce Nigori sake, they use like a basic grade. And Nigori sake has a lot of thickness. So this type of sake pairing with spicy foods or cheese plate or good with dessert.
I actually think you're really onto something there with spicy foods. If you're gonna have like a plate of really spicy hot wings, and you normally say, "Well, I want a glass of milk," I'll have this. This is way more fun than a glass of milk.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so much happening here, and it's wonderful.
Or if someone knows a kimchi, which is a Korean fermented cabbage, spicy cabbage, Nigori sake with kimchi is one of the favorite.
I like that. Unfortunately, I don't think we actually have a Korean restaurant in Lethbridge. I'll stand corrected if anyone knows of one, but I don't think we have one down here, unfortunately.
We used to.
Mm-hmm.
We used to, very briefly.
Well, about Nigori sake, please enjoy with very chilled temperature.
Okay.
Well, sometimes we put the ice cube in the glass.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm having it room temperature because, like I said, we kind of forgot to refrigerate my sakis. Thanks, Devin. No, that's even nice room temperature. I can tell why it would be nicer cold, but it's nice room temperature. One thing that we noticed early on, there's a little bit of a pink color, and I don't think it's just coming from the label.
Oh, actually, this pink color is by bottle.
Oh, it's the bottle.
It's bottle.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that ruined my question. Thanks, Washi. So while we're on the topic of some of the maybe less common styles of sake, do we want to talk about things that we're not tasting tonight but are major sake styles that we don't see, like sparkling sake or koshu sake or maybe something like nama sake. Like there's a whole range that we're not even tasting tonight. Do you want to talk about some of the lesser seen but still important sake varieties that are out there?
Well, yes, some sake, my favorite sake is sparkling sake. Well, sparkling sake has two different types. First one is I call Coca-Cola style sparkling sake. CO2 gas are added later. Or we have a pet nut style, like a natural fermentation, second fermentation in the bottle style.
I think you just made Devin's night by him learning that pet nut sake is a thing.
Yeah, and koshu is like aged sake. Koshu has a lot of mushroomy notes, so that one is perfect pairing with heavier oily dish like a Peking duck or foie gras.
I really like koshu. It's probably my favorite sake style because it's got so much interesting character to it. It's so oxidative, it's so rich, it has just wonderful power and weight and oiliness almost. It's wonderful. I love koshu.
Well, all of sake, I would like to talk about a pairing, like a food pairing.
Please, go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, sake never fights with food. It harmonizes. Well, sake itself has lots more umami compared to any other alcohol beverages. So, still many people think sake works with only sushi or sashimi or teriyaki chicken or Japanese food. Don't worry about it. Recently, some non-Japanese Michelin star restaurant or French restaurant or Italian restaurant, they serve the sake on their wine list. Sake works with steak, works with pizza, works with cheese. It works with all kind of foods. So if you have a chance, please try to make a pairing with your favorite food. And another unique style is temperature. Well, sake works with chilled, room temperature, and hot. Well, if you have a chance, please buy 2 or 3 different sake. However, sometimes, people say it's over budget. For these people, just grab one sake. First one, please enjoy with very, very chilled temperature. Then, don't need to put in ice bucket. Just put it on the table. After 10 minutes, sake temperature is a little bit up. Then this character will be changed, little bit more rounded. After then, after 20 or 30 minutes, temperature is more up. Then sake flavor will be more mild. So if you can enjoy with different temperature, then you can find different character.
Okay, so on the topic of food pairing, let's kind of walk through these. What would you recommend in a non-Japanese traditional dish to pair with each of the 4 sakes tonight?
Okay, with Kaiun, that one, seared scallop.
All right, and with 2?
Yes, the second one, I want to say like a grilled barbecue.
Okay. And the third, the Daiginjo, which I'm totally going back to, even though my glass is completely coated in rice.
Steak.
Steaks with a Daiginjo? Oh man.
Yes, it works. Or I want to say pizza, margarita pizza.
I can really see the margarita pizza with this. Steak, I'll have to try it, but margarita pizza and this would be magic together. And the nigori?
Nigori, it's a wing, chicken wing.
Yeah?
Like spicy chicken wing. That's amazing.
I'm right there with you on that.
We're ordering takeout.
We are totally ordering takeout the second we're done. Kevin asks, when you buy a bottle of sake, how long is it good for? How long is it fresh?
If you keep it in like a chill temperature, like in basement, 1 year, 2 year, no problem.
And once it's open?
2 weeks, 3 weeks, no problem. However, after opening it, please keep it in fridge.
Beautiful. What else we got for questions here? I mean, we've got Washi. I mean, let's be honest. Do you want to talk a little bit about your company? You're really the only, as far as I'm aware, 100% sake importer for Alberta. You are, like, without really exaggerating, you're the king of sake in Alberta. You're literally the guy. You're the best person I could possibly ask for this.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about what you do and kind of the state of sake here. What should people be looking out for?
Okay, my company is Sake Gami. Me and business partner Toshi, Sake Gami runs with two people. Our sales is in Alberta, Saskatchewan, BC, and Northwest Yukon territories. And we just bring the premium sake from Japan to Alberta. And sometimes we work with the city of Lethbridges. So when you go to Nikkayuko Japanese Garden, you can see the Kaiun sake barrel. So we do like a special Japanese traditional culture ceremony, which called sake barrel ceremony, to at special occasion. And also we teach how to enjoy sake at local restaurant or wine store. In Lethbridges, you can enjoy at several Japanese restaurants as well.
I know that Coco and Lighthouse both order from you quite extensively, especially Coco orders a huge amount of your sake. And that they're such a small place, but they're so excellent. And I really love having them downtown here. I'm not going to rank tonight because I feel out of my depth a little bit here. I did do my WSET level 1 with Saki years ago. I know roughly what I'm talking about, but not enough to really rank for myself. I encourage all of you to, but yeah, I'm not going to rank here. So I'll ask you, Washi, of everything that you had tonight, what's your favorite and what's the one that you'd be most likely to buy for yourself, if they're different things?
Okay, well, I love Kaiun a lot.
I couldn't have told by looking at your portfolio at all.
Well, I'm from this city. I grew up with Kaiun, so I really, really enjoy Kaiun sake.
And of the two Kaiun, what's your pick for tonight?
I want to pick Junmai Daiginjo.
Perfect. I had a really interesting question. So single malt Scotch and Scotch in general has to be from Scotland. Champagne has to be from France. Are there regional protections for sake yet, or are they coming down the pipe?
No yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. But sake from Japan, we can call Japanese sake. And recently in many sake brewery in North America as well. We have there are 3 local craft sake brewery in Canada, 2 in Vancouver, 1 in Toronto. But this one is sake. However, we cannot call Japanese sake. That one is sake.
Okay. I love it. Any closing comments, Washi, as we kind of finish off the tasting?
Well, to enjoy the sake, please don't scare it. Well, still, some people say, sake is, it's too strong, or blah, 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 blah. No, sake is so elegant and easy to drink beverages. So, please enjoy what you want.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Washi. That was absolutely fantastic. I'll ask you to hang around while I wrap up, and we'll talk a little bit about this after we finish the public portion. But for myself, thank you all so much for watching. This was not quite so much a complete vanity project from me as the grappa tasting, but I really wanted to do sake, so thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. Thank you so much, Washi, for coming on and talking about sake. This was an absolute treat. Yeah, I hope this gets your weekend started off right. It certainly started my weekend off right. So thank you all so much. We'll see you for brown ales on Wednesday, and we will see you for Austrian wines on Friday. And thank you all so much. I'm Kyle with Andrew Hilton. Good night. We're out? Cool.